Agency of the Year. Jay Peterson here from Peterson Insurance. Find out about Pekin's auto, home, or life insurance by clicking on our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Noah Atkinson here, owner of Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs in Lincoln. Proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month.
Serve Pro of Piatt DeWitt Counties is the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. They have their own crews to do the work quickly and efficiently to give you peace of mind. Remember, Serve Pro of Piatt DeWitt Counties for cleaning, restoration, and construction. They'll receive a $200 gift certificate good at Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs for being our WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month. Nominate a business you'd like featured by emailing us at whow@randyradio.com.
Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs reminds you that if you're in need of anything printed, from envelopes and wedding invitations to signs, banners, and even vinyl wraps, think of us. Find us online at lincolnprintersinc.com.
I'm staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, inviting you to listen to a regional radio forecast twice an hour. From Clinton, Monticello, and Lincoln to Bloomington, Decatur, Springfield, and Champaign, you can rely on our localized weather forecast. We'll tell you whether you'll need a snow shovel, raincoat, or sunscreen. We're proud to be part of the regional radio team providing compelling local content to listeners across central Illinois. I'm staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, glad to be part of your family every day.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online 24 hours a day.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and to YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agents in Clinton. My guest in studio in this segment of the morning show is Monica Nyman with the St. Louis District Dairy Council. A good morning, Monica. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on today. Happy June Dairy Month.
Happy June Dairy Month. It's got to be one of the most exciting times of the year for you, I'm sure.
It is. We love to recognize our dairy farmers. They give us such good support as being board members of the St. Louis Dairy Council, but they're such hard workers. It has been really hot this week, and just sort of a reminder, it doesn't matter what the weather looks like outside, whether it's 100 or -30, those dairy farmers still have to go out, do all of their farm chores. Take care of the cows, milk them, feed them, water them. It's a constant job. And so they're constantly producing that fresh milk for us.
They don't get to be told to stay home because it's too hot, right? So
that is true. Yeah. They don't get snow days or, heat advisory days to stay at home. So, it's an opportunity for us really just to give an extra shout out to them for all their hard work. We love dairy products. The milk they're producing is turned into so many different types of foods. And it also just is a reminder for listeners to get in your 3 servings of dairy, which is recommended by the dietary guidelines.
Sure. Very well. Now, what consists of a serving of dairy, Monica?
Sure. So a serving of dairy is 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of yogurt, or 1.5 ounces of cheese. So it shouldn't be very difficult for you to get all of that in a day's time, because dairy, of course, does pair really well with all of your meals, all of your snacks, and all of those other delicious food groups that we have.
Very good. So throw a little cheese on a salad or something of that nature with a glass of milk, and you're 2/3 of the way there.
I know. So it's super easy.
Easy enough. Very good. Well, Monica, if I remember right, June Dairy Month typically comes with a theme, correct?
It does, yes. So this year our theme is 90 and on the move. I have to stretch that out a little bit so everyone gets that. 90 and on the move, because we are celebrating our 90th anniversary at the St. Louis Dairy Council. And so we've been around since 1932 as an organization that is funded by local dairy farmers, that promotes the education of how dairy fits into a healthy diet. So we're really excited. We're proud of that. And so our theme, it sort of just reflects back on how things have changed so significantly over the last 9 decades. So, not only with the farmers and the farm, but what we're seeing in the grocery store, and then sort of how our organization has changed over the last 9 decades in promoting dairy on behalf of dairy farmers.
Well, I'm curious what that looks like and how much has changed. Do you mind speaking to that a little bit?
For which subject?
For how the promotion of dairy has. Yeah, how about that?
Sure. So starting back in 1932, our biggest theme was called Put the Milk Pitcher Back on the Table. Okay, so that was the very first dairy promotion that the St. Louis District Dairy Council came up with. And I think that's really interesting because in today's world, our family dynamics have changed quite a bit, but we are still trying to get people to eat dinner together.
Right.
There's so many benefits, especially to kids, by eating family meals together. And so, there aren't milk pitchers that people are using anymore, but you can certainly fill that glass of milk and put it on your dining room table and serve that up with your dinner.
Right.
So other things that have changed, way back in the 1930s, they did a lot of signage on like public transportation. They brought a lot of milk cows out to do demonstrations of how actually, you get milk out of a cow. And especially in today's world, people sometimes don't even really know how that happens.
Right.
So they did a lot of more hands-on types of things. And so in today's world, we are able to connect with consumers, schools, health professionals in that virtual platform. So, we have our traditional and our social media. We have our in-person visits, our in-person media, radio interviews. But we're also able to use technology to our advantage to share our messages and sort of spread the word about dairy. Our website, has a lot of information, a lot of resources. Those are things that weren't available back in the 1930s.
Yeah,
so really
I bet technology has changed this a lot.
Yeah, I think really that's the biggest key. Our mission to support the dairy farmers, teach people about how dairy fits into a healthy diet and why it is a healthy food. All of those things are virtually the same, but the way that we do that has become a lot more advanced because of technology.
Well, I think of even how we get our dairy has changed so much, for whatever reason. Something you said earlier kind of struck me, and it got me thinking about, the milkman coming around with the cases of dairy that he'd drop at the door, and that was how you got your dairy back in the day. But how about not only that, Monica, transitioning to just the dynamics of dairy products available. There's so much in the you go to the dairy case and it's it's a whole section of the store anymore. So how about that and the changes there and what we should know about those, what we see when we get to that part of the grocery store?
Sure. So I'll start with just sort of why there are so many new innovative products coming to the dairy case. And really, it's what consumers are looking for. So working in the nutrition field, I just started my almost 19th year being a registered dietitian, and consumers really drive trends when it comes to new types of products. So in the nutrition world today, protein is a really big buzzword. We know that it keeps you fuller for longer. It has a lot of health benefits. It helps repair muscles after exercising. And so in the dairy case, we now have Greek yogurt, which isn't really a new product, but in the last few decades, it is a new product. And so basically how that's made is they take regular yogurt and they strain it. And so they just get a little bit more of that liquid off of there, and that concentrates it. So it's thicker. It has a really creamy, thick texture to it, but it also has a lot of concentrated protein. So it's going to give you about 2 times the amount of protein. Okay?
Really?
So then we also have these ultra filtered milks. And so I think these are fascinating, and I would love to watch this process. But they basically take milk and they separate it into its particles, and then they put it back together in different percentages. So we have some ultra filtered milk that's on the market that has a significantly increased amount of protein compared to regular milk. So again, protein is that buzzword.
Right.
Another topic that consumers are looking for is healthy bacteria. So in the nutrition world, we know healthy bacteria is really good for gut health. intestinal, all that sort of thing. And so you have yogurt, which has healthy bacteria. You also have kefir. Both of those are fermented dairy products. And so people are looking for those because we know that healthy bacteria is good for us. And then the final product that I just wanted to mention is there are many dairy products out there that are ultra pasteurized, which means they can sit on in the refrigerator for a lot longer. There's also shelf stable milk, which seems kind of strange, but you actually buy it just in the regular aisle of the grocery store.
Really?
You can put it in the refrigerator. It has a much longer expiration date. Of course, once you open it, it only has about a week or so once it's opened. But those are really great products to have, send with your kids to camp, those sort of thing. If you're buying milk in bulk, you can buy the UHT shelf stable milk. And then for those that don't go to the grocery store very often, maybe you live in a rural community, or maybe you have a tighter budget where you're only going grocery shopping every maybe 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. Those are really great products because they can sit in your refrigerator for a lot longer before you have to use them up. So lots of dairy products that are innovative and keeping up with consumer demand. And I expect in the years to come, we're going to see even more different things that are available to consumers. But you can definitely find something in the dairy case, no matter what your health goals are, no matter what nutrition plan you're following, if it's low fat, if it's low carb. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is that, there really is something for everyone, no matter, your family, your kids, no matter what age they are. Try a different brand. If you try something and you don't like it, try something different. A different brand may taste very different to you and you may enjoy that more. So don't just try it once and give up. I've heard people say that before.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were talking about the the bacteria in yogurt, and isn't there like probiotic properties in yogurt as well?
Yes. So that phrase really just means healthy bacteria.
Oh,
so
okay,
it's kind of
gotcha.
an indifferent phrase. There are some other foods like sauerkraut and kimchi that have the fermentation process and the bacteria in there. But personally, I would love to just have a bowl of yogurt with some berries on it and some granola to achieve those benefits. So if you look at your package, it will actually say contains live and active cultures right on that food label. So it has that healthy bacteria in it.
Yeah. So one thing I'm curious about, you talk about getting your 3 servings of dairy a day. And I mentioned, putting some cheese on a salad, let's say, or let's say you're grilling burgers and you put some cheese on the top of the burger and it melts. And can the variations of how you incorporate dairy, does that work at all levels? Does that make sense?
So are you asking if you can eat the same dairy food for all of your servings?
Well, not necessarily. Like if let's say I melt some cheese on top of a burger, or, like I said, I put some cheese in a salad. Is it all the same at that point? Does that make sense?
Yes, it is all going to be the same. It doesn't matter if you're melting it or if you're sprinkling it on a cold salad or baking it on pizza.
Okay.
The serving size is going to be the same.
Gotcha.
But I always recommend to try to mix up your dairy because, for example, cheese, it's a smaller serving compared to milk or yogurt. And so if you're eating the same type of dairy food, so again, the cheese example, you're not getting the healthy bacteria that the yogurt provides. So try to mix and match the different dairy throughout the day. That way you are able to achieve and receive all of those nutrient benefits that dairy provides.
I know you've talked about smoothies a lot, throwing a little Greek yogurt in a smoothie.
Yes.
That's a good way to get dairy, correct?
It is. And so if, that's a great breakfast. I think I mentioned last time I was here, my son is still doing this. He's making the protein smoothie bowls, which he's using protein powder with frozen fruit and lots of milk. But you could swap out the yogurt. You'd probably have to put a little bit of milk in it just to make sure that it's blending well in your blender. That's one thing that he keeps us struggling with. He's not putting enough liquid in it. And
Yes.
stuck in it.
Yeah.
I said, don't burn my blender up. But yes, making a smoothie, making overnight oatmeal, those are things that are really quick in the morning that you can grab and go. So
yeah, it sounds like he's got the same challenge I do. But very good, Monica. Again, the website for the St. Louis District Dairy Council is?
It is stldairycouncil.org.
Very good. Monica Nyman with the St. Louis District Dairy Council in studio with us. We talk June Dairy Month here on the WHOW Morning Show, streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. More to come on the Morning Show.
WHOW.
Keep you connected. Let's check the latest numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday morning. I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and wheat all trading higher at this hour. July corn, $7.84 up 10.25. September corn up 13.25, $7.42 December new crop, $7.35 that's up 14.75. July beans, $16.97 up 3.25. August beans up 3.25, $16.17. And November beans, $15.28. That's up 4.5. July wheat, $10.62.5, up 12.5. September wheat up 12, $10.75.5. And December wheat, $10.89 3/4, up 11.25. July bean meal at this hour, $424.70. That's up $7.20. And July bean oil down to $1.69, $75.98. A look at the latest numbers, the Chicago Board of Trade on this Thursday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Here's a supply chain update from your Clinton Save-A-Lot. Owner Dave Jackson here. Workers in retail and restaurants today are doing the best they can under very trying circumstances. That situation is no different here at your Clinton Save-A-Lot. It's been a team effort to keep our shelves stocked with the freshest meat, produce, and items you purchase every day. While many stores have cut hours and services, your Clinton Save-A-Lot has maintained our staffing level and regular hours thanks to my fantastic team of employees. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
This is Connie from Love It Once More Thrift Store in Clinton. Did you know your donations stay local to help local? So bring them in and you'll get 10% off any purchase. To learn about our sales this month, be sure to check out our Facebook page or DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hi, this is Ryan with Utterback Real Estate. Time to pick up your roots?
That's random.
Have you outgrown your environment?
What are we growing?
Memories, one home at a time.
Oh, I thought you meant corn and beans.
And that's why you're Ryan Utterback.
Click the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest in studio this morning is Monica Nyman with the St. Louis District Dairy Council. We talk June Dairy Month. And Monica, talk to us a little bit about how St. Louis District Dairy Council, you mentioned the organization is there to promote dairy, and that's kind of been its purpose for 90 years. How do you continue to do that? How has that evolved? How about some of those things?
Sure. So, my work with the St. Louis District Dairy Council sort of encompasses 4 different categories. So we have lots of resources for educators. So that's basically schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with food service directors, teachers, coaches, classrooms. So that's kind of one arm of our promotion. And within that, we try to teach the kids what happens on a dairy farm. So even though I have a nutrition background, I have definitely learned a lot about the dairy industry.
Mm-hmm.
The second sort of arm of our promotion is working with health professionals. And so every summer, we develop lots of dairy-friendly resources for WIC clinics.
Mm-hmm.
And so we give them recipes, kid activity sheets, signage, posters for them to hang up in their clinics because the WIC participants are receiving dairy in their packages.
Mm-hmm.
And then our other group is other registered dietitians. So around our communities, you have dietitians working in grocery stores, at gyms, in hospitals, in outpatient settings. And so providing them with dairy resources, for example, a handout on lactose intolerance for them to use in their practice.
Right.
And then another arm is working with consumers. And so we do a variety of different things, whether it's a county fair or setting up at a wellness event, just anything that kind of pops up in our area where we feel like we would be a good fit for that community. We have a lot of consumers really like recipes, but I find that I get a lot of questions from consumers when I'm at those events, when they're talking about mostly like lactose intolerance or, being a vegetarian and if dairy fits into that role, those types of things. And then, of course, we work with media. We do print pieces, television appearances, radio stations, and then we also support our dairy farmers if they have tours or things like that. So I think over the last, 9 decades, our organization has continued to promote the health benefits of dairy. We're just able to do that in a little bit of a different way with technology, our website, connecting with people over social media. Instagram and Facebook certainly weren't around back in the 1930s. No one probably ever dreamed of such a platform or a cell phone. So, I think that we are able to reach more consumers because technology has made so many advancements.
Sure. You're very visible, Monica. The things you're talking about, you're in front of people, you're talking to people, all of those things.
Yes.
What else does your job entail?
Basically the 4 different components that I mentioned. And so, but I always have kind of random things that come up. So for June, I've been presenting at Summer Ag Institutes. And so around our counties, we have Ag in the Classroom coordinators who bring in teachers. And so I go in and I provide information on what resources we have available for them to use in their classrooms and what types of programs are available for their schools. I also manage all of our cafeteria grant funds in my territory. So this past month, I worked with my schools of letting them know that they were getting funding for their projects. So I have several smoothie grants where the schools are adding smoothies to their menu. So they're basically just adding more dairy products for the kids to consume, and they have different recipes that they can use. We have a few panini projects where they'll be making hot sandwiches using different types of cheeses. We have milk coolers. I actually have a brand new coffee bar in my territory. So they're going to be serving up coffee drinks to high school students.
Wow, cool.
You don't think about that, but they love coffee just like we do, and they're drinking a lot of it. So managing those cafeteria funds. I also do a lot of public speaking. So I have groups that ask me to come talk to them about a specific topic. So I've done Milk the Real Deal, which kind of highlights the differences between cow's milk and alternative beverages. I'm very passionate about different types of things that specifically relate to dairy, like lactose intolerance or dairy in a plant-based diet. So I'll give presentations to other health professionals or just different community groups. So my job is every day I do something different. I meet a lot of people. Yesterday I did a food show for the LaSalle County Co-op. I got to see lots of food service directors that I haven't been able to connect with in person for the past few years. So that was really fun to be able to see some familiar faces.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to, again, our guest in studio, Monica Nyman, St. Louis District Dairy Council, talking June Dairy Month. My last guest and I were talking about ways to incorporate, like a cooler meal through the summer heat. I think dairy would be a great way to incorporate, like a cool cheese or, milk or something of that. Yogurt's obviously a cool option. Dairy's a great way to do that, incorporate cool things during the summer heat. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned all 3 of the dairy foods, milk, cheese, and yogurt. Those are all very portable. They can be packed in a lunchbox. So I think about my son. He's in day camp and he has to pack a lunch every day. So he actually is enjoying the drinkable yogurts. And so that's a really great way to get a serving of dairy in. We also do a lot of cheese and crackers for meals. So whether it's a type that's kind of in a pre-package, or I just slice up different cheese and pair that with crackers. I actually have that in my lunchbox today. And then anytime you can do the grab and go kind of chug of milk, like a chocolate milk in the afternoon when he's at the pool, as long as you can keep it really cold, that's the biggest thing. And even I've noticed in my car, over the last week of traveling, I have to put a lot of ice in that cooler because it's getting really hot. So if it's a lunchbox where it's sitting in your car where it's going to be a lot warmer, just make sure that you put a lot of ice in there, because we all know that you have to have really cold dairy products. That's when they taste the best, of course. So just make sure that you're adding that extra ice in there.
Sure. Very good. Well, Monica, in our final minute together, anything you want to mention we haven't gotten to this morning?
Sure. I did want to just circle back to the whole June Dairy Month concept and just make listeners aware that we actually started celebrating June Dairy Month back in 1937. And so in today's world, every day, it's pizza day or grilled cheese sandwich day, but June Dairy Month is actually the longest continuous national food promotion event in the country. It has been around for such a long time. Many of our small communities, especially down south in southern Illinois, where there are lots of saturated dairy farms, they have dairy days, parades, picnics. There's actually dairy princess appearances in some of the more populated dairy farm areas, and on-farm warm breakfast. Things that take place during June. And so it's a really exciting month for us. We celebrate every single June, again, to honor our hardworking dairy farmers, thank them for their hard work to produce that fresh, high quality milk that then is turned into so many delicious foods that we all enjoy every single day.
Monica, the website for the St. Louis District Dairy Council is?
It's stldairycouncil.org.
That is Monica Nyman with the St. Louis District Dairy Council. Network News is next.
WHOW.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM W222 BG Clinton, 106.5 FM W293 DJ Normal Bloomington.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Recession fears taking a heavy toll on Wall Street as key averages plummet yet again. The Dow is below the 30,000 level now, with the NASDAQ and the S&P down sharply as well. The White House vilified